have a special guest. His name is John Cribb. This is a very attractive cover, but it's even better inside. This is a phenomenal story. The last 5 years of Abraham Lincoln, done in novel form. And so it's an honor to have you on our telecast. I usually don't do novels because it's kind of like interviewing somebody that had just made a movie. Mm-hmm. And obviously they're not going to talk a whole lot about the movie because they want you to see it. Same thing with a novel. You can't give it away. But I'm going to be covering certain areas that I know you would not mind me covering.
Sure, absolutely.
Before we start this, I want to give our audience, because I just met you, and we had prayer together, which was really nice, and enjoyed that. But I want our audience to know who you are, and it's pretty impressive, so bear with me. John Cribb is a best-selling author who has written about subjects ranging from history to education. During the Reagan administration, he worked at the Department of Justice, the Department of Education, and the National Endowment for the Humanities. His writing has been published in Wall Street Journal, USA Today, the Chicago Tribune, National Review Online, and several other publications. He's a native of Spartansburg, South Carolina. That's where you are right now, right?
It is, yes.
John studied literature at Vanderbilt University. So I'm in awe of all your accolades. You have a lot of them.
Well, thank you. I'm honored that you had me. I really am. I'm excited and honored. And my wife is even more excited because when I told her that when you were going to interview me, she immediately said, she said, "Oh, Sharron, she's from Batavia." Because my wife is from Lockport, right up the road from Batavia.
My goodness.
And so she knew that, and I said, "I don't think Sharon's going to be on." So she was disappointed about that. But anyway, she's very excited.
She's going to come right over here to say hello. She'll have, what is your wife's name?
Well, bless her heart.
her name is Kirsten. Yeah.
Kirsten.
And her parents still live in Lockport, and we go up there often, and it's a great part of the country.
Well, you tell her that I was born and raised in Akron, New York, which you'll know where that is. It's right.
Oh, Akron. Okay.
Lockport, you know.
And our kids were born in Batavia.
Yeah.
Oh, Batavia. Okay, that's why she thought Batavia. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was born in Batavia, and both of our kids were. So. Okay. Well, tell her I said hi.
I will.
She doesn't normally do this on a Zoom, but she wanted to say hello to your wife.
Only people born in Buffalo.
That's right. She said only people born in Buffalo, New York. But getting back to your book, I mean, it is a fascinating idea that you have written a novel about his last 5 years of his life. Can you kind of bring it together of how you were, because I read you love the guy.
I did.
Yeah.
I really did.
You wanted other people to fall in love with it. So go from there.
Yeah, I really do love Lincoln, and that's why I wrote the book, is because I love him, and I want others to know him, know about him, and hopefully love him, as well. So, as you say, the book covers the last 5 years of his life. It starts with in May of 1860 when he is nominated for president, and you're just at his side in every chapter as he goes through the Civil War and his presidency right to the end. And it is historical fiction. But I spent a long time. It would be embarrassing if I have to tell you if you ask me how long it took to write this novel, I'll tell you, but it's embarrassing. But I spent a long time trying to get the history right.
Yes.
So that you can be sure that you're getting a real image of Lincoln.
How long did it take?
Well, I first had the idea for this novel in 2006, believe it or not, and that's when I started the research. And I was reading, I've been a Lincoln fan a long time, but I was reading Carl Sandburg's landmark 6-volume biography of Lincoln, which
probably the one I've got.
Yeah. It's a beautifully written biography, especially those first 2 volumes, the Prairie Years, are just so gorgeously written. And at the same time, I reread, because I'd read it in high school, Irving Stone's book about Michelangelo, The Agony and the Ecstasy. I don't know if you ever read that, but it's a wonderful historical novel about how he paints the Sistine Chapel ceiling and all of that. And it just set me thinking, I wonder if you could do the same thing, same type of thing for Lincoln. That was my original idea, was to cover Lincoln's whole life, but that just proved to be too unwieldy for one book. So I zeroed in on the last 5 years of his life.
Well, maybe you could make volume 1, 2, 3, 4 and continue.
I'd love to. If enough people buy it, I would love to.
There you go. Now, you talk about when you do it in novel form, do you have a different, are you allowed to do things that you would not if you're just writing a straight volume about his life?
Yes, yeah. You're not held to quite the same standard in fiction, obviously. One thing I had to do was leave a lot out. I mean, this book is 370 pages long, but it covers 5 years. If you put in everything that happened in 5 years, it would be a very long book. But in some scenes I condensed. Occasionally I would, create a minor character to keep the story moving along. Although almost all the characters that you meet in this book are real people. They were people like Mary Todd Lincoln and their children, and Ulysses S. Grant and Frederick Douglass. So in the dialogue, I worked very hard to build words written or spoken by these people into the dialogue just as much as I could. So I spent a lot of time with primary resource documents, letters, speeches, reports from people who wrote what Lincoln had said to them, and tried to build those actual words into the dialogue as best I could. But then I used my imagination to fill in gaps in the, in the scenes, in the dialogue, in the event.
I'm interested in writers because I read a lot of books and interview a lot of individuals. But that thought process, how do you put your thought process into a novel that is consistent with what you're writing?
Well, it's difficult, in a case of a novel like this, where you're trying to, this novel is told from the third person, so it's not in the first person as if Lincoln is speaking and thinking, but you're right next to him. So I am occasionally trying to get into his head, and quite often actually. So as you say, you have to slip into that somehow. And so I did that just by immersing himself in his writing more than anything else, and what people who actually knew him and spent time with him, wrote about him. I think one thing that helped was, for me, that I had worked as a speechwriter in Washington for a while, and to write speeches for other people, you have to get inside their heads.
Did you write any for Reagan?
Now I did write some speeches, some language that ended up in some of Reagan's speeches, but not that many. I wrote for Bill Bennett when he was Secretary of Education. Is mainly
he wrote the foreword in this book.
He did. He's very kind to write that wonderful foreword for me. And as far as Reagan went, sometimes the speeches like the State of the Union, anything that would have to do with education, for example, when I was at the Education Department, the speech writing shop there would call over and say, can you send us some draft language on this or that, or the policies that you think should go in the State of the Union. And so we would write stuff up, and every once in a while, some of that you'd actually hear, end up in a speech, which was what does
that feel like? You're hearing your words coming from the mouth of this well-known person.
Yeah. Well, in the case of Reagan, of course, it was a thrill. And again, I was not a Reagan speechwriter. I had there were people in the White House doing that, but when we did manage to slip some language in that they used, it was a wonderful thing. But I loved writing speeches, especially for Bill Bennett. He's such a wonderful speaker and writer, and just
he's brilliant, amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah.
What was this book? Because he had a very famous book, Bill Bennett.
Yeah, he had the book that really was almost a cultural phenomenon was the Book of Virtues.
Yes.
Which came out in 1993. That actually helped him with. I spent about a year of my life on that book. He called me up and he called me up, and he had started it, but he said, I need some help gathering material. And so I spent about a year, this is before the internet, more or less. I mean, the internet, I guess, was coming along. So I spent a lot of time at the Library of Congress and other places, digging through old 100-year-old books and finding this material that we wanted to rescue that was, gave moral guidance, especially to younger people, but of all ages.
Yes.
And then I would copy it off. And then Bill was back then was giving a lot of speeches all over the country, and we would fly around the country together. And while we were on the planes and in the hotels and stuff, we'd take these big stacks of speeches and go through them and read stuff and say, yeah, no, maybe, and gradually got it into the Book of Virtues. It was a wonderful experience for me.
That is fascinating. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Now, Lincoln, his verbiage was like from another planet. I mean, the guy was just incredible. The way he could form words.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like poetry, but yet it wasn't.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, you had to get inside the head of a guy that writes that way. How did that feel?
Well, it was humbling. I mean, that's the only thing you can say, especially, and it is beautiful. People who, haven't read Lincoln, I urge you, just read Lincoln. Go online. You can go online. His collected works are all online, but start with the Gettysburg Address and the second inaugural address. And he really, there's a Lincoln scholar, he's no longer with us, who said Lincoln's writings has become part of the permanent literary treasure of the nation. And I think that's right. It's literary treasure. It really is. Especially when you consider he was self-taught. Lincoln used to say that when he was young, he went to school by littles. He said a little here and a little there in between plantings and plowings.
That's what always fascinates me is like, if you thought he graduated from Harvard, Princeton, no, this guy was self-taught.
He was self-taught, literally self-taught. All his formal education added up to less than 1 year, his whole life, and that was in little log cabin schoolhouses. But he would walk miles through the Indiana woods to get a book if he could. And then when he was living in Illinois, he decided that if he didn't know more grammar, he was never going to be a good writer or speaker. So he walked several miles to get a book called Kirkham's Grammar, and he brought it home and read it and studied it and memorized it until he knew every rule of grammar in that book. And he turned himself over the years. I mean, it took a long time. When you read his early speeches, they're more flowery, and he didn't, he hadn't parsed it down yet. And that's one thing I try to do in this book, is keep the language fairly simple, because Lincoln's language is simple, and that's one reason it's brilliant. It's simple, and it's brilliant in its simplicity in many ways.
That you just examine or put the words correctly in my mind, because it's simple, but yet you're reading something that is like, it's like a manuscript that there's no way you could ever copy this.
Yeah.
You can't do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, your book, it has, let's see, part 1 is the ascent, part 2 is the inferno, and part 3 is the distant shore. So you've got all of these. It's not like a chapter.
Right.
It's in 3 different parts. Was that your idea? Somebody help you with that?
That was my idea. The editor, each chapter does have a date at the top of it, either a specific day when the events happened, or if the events are happening over the course of a month or so or more, then that's at the top of the chapter. That was my editor's idea.
Okay.
He said that would help really not only let people know where they are in the story, but remind them this is stuff that happened. This is not, it's not a made up novel. This stuff happened. I'm just trying to bring it alive for people.
Yeah. Now, the last 5 years, because that's what we're talking about in this novel. He was assassinated. Let's see, he was born in 1809.
Right.
And he was assassinated in 1865.
Right.
So he would have been 56 years old.
Yeah, young man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. He was taken away from us when he was still a young man. Maybe one of the great tragedies of history, that he was not able to complete his second term. He barely started his second term. And Herman, because I know you know a lot about Lincoln. That assassination. The assassination threat started as soon as he was elected, even before he became president. He started receiving assassination threats while he was still in Springfield, and they carried right on through his presidency. And some of his close friends thought that he didn't take him as seriously as maybe he should have. And at times he said, I can't believe anybody would really want to do me any harm. And at other times he said, well, if they're going to kill me, there's nothing I can do to stop them. They're going to kill me.
This affected Mary Todd, his wife, right?
Yes.
A lot.
Yes,
Because
it did a lot.
it seemed, according to your
Yes.
words, that she kind of took it on that this could happen at any time.
She did. She, she did not have the emotional strength that I think in the end that Lincoln did. And the war was, of course, very hard on everybody, on both of them. But he was able to keep it together in some ways, but maybe she didn't. And I think what really started her really was the first blow was their son Willie, who died in the White House in early 1862. I don't think she was ever the same after he died. And they'd lost another son, Eddie, earlier in Springfield in 1850. So that was a horrible 4 years for the Lincolns. I mean, one thing I really hope that if people read this book, they understand and is that just the extraordinary sacrifice that both of them offered the country, but particularly Lincoln, but he had to struggle to try to keep her as emotionally, together as he could while he was prosecuting this war. So it's a story of, in a lot of ways, both personal tragedy and redemption, I think. And in the end, it's a story of hope for the country. But boy, did they suffer through 4 long, hard, tough years.
You say Lincoln watches hopelessly as she becomes emotionally unstable, and he grasps for ways to support her. So he had, Civil War, all of the things that were going on. I mean, son dying, and yet he had this clarity. I mean, total understanding and love for the people out there.
Yes. And he also definitely became a more spiritual man as the war went on.
Yes.
He told one of his colleagues, he said, I've been driven many times upon my knees from the conviction that I had absolutely nowhere else to go. And I think it drove him in many ways to God. And Lincoln believed that God was taking a very direct hand in human affairs. He believed that God was at work. And yes. Lincoln referred to himself as a humble instrument in the hands of the Almighty. He firmly believed that. And Lincoln spent a lot of time with the Bible during the war. I don't think people understand that. He didn't have a lot of spare time, but what spare time he had, he often was praying or he was with the Bible, searching for answers, because he believed that God works his will in the world. And he wanted to know basically what his assignment was. And so he looked to the Bible to try to understand God's will. And that's in the end the way he understood the Civil War. And I think that if it was not for that, I don't know that Lincoln would have had the strength to make it through the Civil War if it was not his relationship with the Lord.
Yeah, you say in the book, Lincoln believed that if the American experiment failed, we would lose the hope of freedom.
Yes. Lincoln was very aware of it. The country was very young, and that experiment was still, it was being tested hard, and it was unproven. And that he was also, Lincoln realized that for the vast majority of human history, vast majority of people on Earth had not lived with freedom. And the world had been waiting for centuries for this nation to come along, conceived in liberty and dedicated to these propositions. And the eyes of the world were on the nation. And he believed that if the government fell apart, if the Union fractured, that America would end up looking pretty much like Europe, and the hopes for freedom for millions of people around the world would be dashed and perhaps snuffed out. And that's why he called America the last best hope on earth.
Isn't it interesting that, according to history, he had freed millions of slaves with he had such a vision and a commitment to free the slaves.
Yes.
And yet we see Antifada and Black Lives Matters trying to disfigure, tear up the Lincoln Monument. A guy that, I mean, your political background is very obvious, but how do you assess what is happening even as we speak?
Yeah, so it's not just Lincoln. It's right. It's a lot of the founders
Yes.
that gave the world this gift of this nation that we're blessed to live in. I think a lot of it is simply historical ignorance. They've not been taught. You know, I know I've heard you speak on this before, Herman, and interviewed people about it. That history is probably the worst taught subject in schools, unfortunately, and it's been that way a long time. And we're now into, I don't know, second generation, maybe the third. I don't know, people who just really don't know their American history.
Well, the professors, I mean, you're aware of that the professors believe that they need to teach their philosophy rather than what America is all about. So therefore the students leave that university, wherever it is, after paying 60 grand a year for tuition.
Yeah.
And they go out and become the protesters and the rioters. I mean, it's absolutely amazing where we have come from and where we are today.
Right.
It is.
Yes, it's not. Right, you're right. It's not just now. It's not just they're not being taught history. It's they're deliberately being taught a revisionist history.
Yes.
That teaches people to either have no respect for their country or even outright, be hostile, in a hostile position toward their own country. And the heartbreaking thing is that the basic principles that Lincoln fought for and died for are under attack today in many ways.
Yes.
And I think that's what you see when you see people, pulling some of these statues down. It's some of it is historical ignorance. Some of it is just, it's just people being violent, and because that happens. Some of it's deliberate.
If they could read your novel, that would give them literally. That would give them enough education.
Right.
To go, I didn't know that.
Well, I would hope so. That's nice of you to say. I hope so. I mean, like I say, that's one reason. I mean, I do care about, I love history and I want people to know it. And as I say, I want more people to know about Lincoln and who he was and what he did. And so that's what this novel is all about. I'm hoping that people will read it. And as I say, come to know Lincoln better. What I really want to do is make him a walking, talking, breathing fellow for readers.
Yes.
And hopefully get them interested in the history. And
do you have a copy there with you?
I do. Yes.
You do. Can you open to it? This would be the foreword. It would be 5111, and there's in the middle of that paragraph. I would love if you could read that, because that is impactful. It starts with, "But you have not told us a syllable about the greatest general and greatest ruler of the." Can you read that paragraph?
Yes, I can.
Good.
And I'll give your viewers a little bit of context. This is the foreword by Bill Bennett in the book. That's
correct. Yes.
And he tells a story that Tolstoy, the great Russian novelist, had told around the beginning of the 20th century. Tolstoy was traveling in the Caucasus, that region between the Black and Caspian Seas, very remote region. He spent some time with a tribe of mountain horsemen, and they spent the evening with them, and they asked him to tell them about great generals and statesmen of the past, like Caesar and Alexander the Great and Napoleon. And so Tolstoy does that, and then
we've got about 3 minutes left. So okay. if you could read that for me.
Oh, he says, but they say, "But you have not told us a syllable about the greatest general and greatest ruler of the world. We want to know something about him. He was a hero. He spoke with a voice of thunder. He laughed like the sunrise, and his deeds were as strong as the rock and sweet as the fragrance of roses. His name was Lincoln, and the country in which he lived is called America, which is so far away that if a youth should journey to reach it, he would be an old man when he arrived. Tell us of that man."
Yes.
That's great. That's great that you asked me to read that, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do, isn't it? I'm trying to tell the readers of
That's
that
it.
man. Yes.
That says it. I mean, as Bill Bennett can write just like you do. I mean, it's like a writer tells you in a small amount of words, whets your appetite,
Yes.
and you'll say, get me that book, because if it's that good, I want to read it. But what do you want said about this book that would say, that's what I wanted?
I want people, if they read this book, I hope that as I say, it brings Lincoln alive for him. He becomes a walking, talking, breathing fellow for them, but also hope it helps them understand what that extraordinary sacrifice that he performed for this country, and that helps them understand that he was a giant in that epic struggle to save our country, defend our founding principles, and of course free millions of Americans who had been enslaved. I think you understand the American story a lot better if you understand Lincoln's story, because in a lot of ways he stands center stage in that great American story. So I hope that's the kind of thing this book does.
You had to remove some because it was too long.
A lot.
What did you remove that you say, I can't do that, but I have to? What did you let out?
Herman left out so much. The original book was going to start on when he was a teenager on the Indiana frontier and take him all the way through. So there's another book. If this one does well enough, I can do another one starting with him on the frontier as a teenager and taking him up through the Lincoln-Douglas debates is what I'd like to do.
Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah.
He was born in Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. And
That's right. I knew you were born in Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was born in Kentucky.
And I think I'm pretty near as old as he is. I just had an 81st birthday. I'm headed for 82. So, you get to that when you start reading about these old guys, and especially when I realized at 56 he was assassinated.
Yeah.
Think if he could have arrived at my age, what would we be reading about him?
Yeah.
Especially you.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there would be another book there, right? Yeah. I think the country probably would have been a different place.
Yes.
Had he lived, and Reconstruction would have been different.
Yeah.
But we were lucky. His life was a gift from God. It really was. We were lucky to have him.
We hear the word anointed thrown around. He was definitely anointed to do what he did. And let me just take this moment to grab your copy. And the website is on the screen. So go to the website, get your copy. I'm telling you. And you know what I like about this book? This is just a secret. It's got that new format that it's really light. It's almost like a magazine. It's very light. So it's well done. Get your copy. You will, take it from me, I read a lot of books, love this book. God bless. Bye-bye.